Welcome back to Voice of the People on Observer Radio 91.1 FM. It's 12:29 in the afternoon, a beautiful afternoon in St. John's, Antigua. Paul and Kamaya, we're in the house, and we're very happy to have our special guest here with us. Kamaya will do the introductions in a few. In fact, Kamaya, take it away.
Okay, Paul. Yes, we indeed have a very, very special guest, Uwani Hughes, the CEO of Great Gale LLC, as well as the mangaka. And anybody that doesn't know what mangaka means, it's a writer or an illustrator, and he is the mangaka of BOLDSAGA and Brave Onwards Limit Destroyer. He is a husband, entrepreneur, and has an associate of applied science degree in commercial art digital technology. After a decade of experience in graphic design, illustration, and more, he noticed a gap in the manga industry regarding authentic African representation. So he created a manga that celebrates African culture and the diaspora, one that will inspire and empower the next generation of young kings and queens. He has been featured on Virtuous Con, Afro Comic Con, Voice of the People, and ABS TV in Antigua. Welcome, Uwani Hughes.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kings and Queens. Thank you, Kamaya. Thank you, Paul. And thank you again for this opportunity. I thank God, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Yes. Now, just so that the folks will know, you're the cousin of Attorney Bowen, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And you live in New York, is it?
Yes, I do.
And your beautiful wife, she's of Antiguan extraction?
No. She was born in United States, but she has family that's connected and going back to Barbados. And I'm born in Antigua, even though I live in New York.
Yes, very, very good.
Can't forget the roots.
And you have written about 2 or 3 books already, haven't you?
I've written 4 books for BOLDSAGA, chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. I also made 7 steps to creating a dream manga series to help anyone create their own books, cover to cover. Wow. And then I've made multiple books. Just this last year, I've done 10 books.
Yes, okay. And there's one that you're unveiling today, isn't it? Yeah, right here on Voice of the People.
Yes, I am.
Very good.
Okay, we're very excited for that. I am.
Tell us first, though, and you have to pardon my ignorance, eh? So I did some quick research on what manga is and all of that stuff, but just so that the listeners can know, tell us what it's all about.
Perfect. So manga is Japanese-style comics that centers on story as well as culture. And what I love about manga is that anyone can create it. There's this perception that it can only be focused on Japanese people or it can only be focused on European culture. But at the end of the day, manga is story. And it has a cinematic aspect to it. So what I love is that when people understand how to make their own manga, they can tell any type of story they want and connect it back to their culture. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to be a vigilante or a cop. You can be anything that you want, and you can connect it back to your culture. That, in its essence, is what manga is.
Indeed.
Very good. And I'm 62 years old, and I've seen my boys with that stuff. When they were younger, I don't think they're fascinated by it as much. Is this for all generations? Tell us what generation you're catering to, if any.
Okay. What I love about the way how BOLDSAGA is written, it's written for young kings and queens, but at the end of the day, it's a story that literally is about empowering kings and queens to seize greatness of all ages. So if you're a parent, you can enjoy this. I've had parents read it like, I got it for my son, but I enjoyed it. The stories, the morals, the actual essence of it, all of it is connected back so that when you read it, if you're an adult, if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're a child, you will enjoy it. And what I love about manga, the way how it's written, is that there are different categories from like the youngest, which is like shonen, to older, like seinen, josei, shoujo. So it's very structured in how it's written, but the way how BOLDSAGA is written, it's for young kings and queens growing up.
Okay, and I would have been not only an expert, but I love manga and anime. So what would have inspired you? What was the motivation behind BOLDSAGA or your mangaka journey on a whole?
Perfect. My inspiration is actually Antigua. I love talking about this part, mainly because when I moved back to Antigua in 2003, I lived with my grandparents, and I came from New York. And when I lived with them, I lived in the countryside. So we didn't get access. And the irony, as soon as I stepped in the house, an earthquake happened. So when that happened, I got The satellite, which had 1,000 channels, went down to 3. So God's like, you have to read. That's the only way you're going to get through. Like, you'll play games now and then, but you have to read. I got into reading dictionaries. I got into reading all these different types of books. And I watched One Piece.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay, go ahead.
yes, you see, One Piece is one of the greatest manga anime of this, just in general.
Okay.
And what I loved about One Piece is that when I looked at the main character, he had a straw hat. My grandmother had a straw hat. He had on sandals. I had on sandals. He had a vest and shorts. I had a vest and shorts. So it inspired me, encouraged me. And that was the first manga I ever read. So seeing it on TV, I was like, wow, this is awesome. But why I got into making Bold Sagas, as I studied, as I got more into studying and knowledge of self, I realized that most stories that are manga don't celebrate African culture. They will take from it. They will use it, but they won't actually put any characters that are of African descent into the main spotlight or actually connect them back to their culture.
Agreed.
A key point is Usopp. Uso is Japanese for lie. Aesop is an Ethiopian. But the way how they do Usopp, he's basically like a minstrel character, like a mockery character. He's always being ridiculed. And it doesn't make any sense because when you get to the end of One Piece, it's not a spoiler, but it's connected. When you hear about the Drums of Liberation and Joy Boy, that's connected to African culture because Joy Boy is an African deity. And the Drums of Liberation is a book by Dansi Ohadike, which is the sacred drums of liberation, how African people were able to overcome challenges and apartheid and slavery through music and through religion. So when you realize that these Japanese people are using African culture for their own benefit, if that's the case, it'd be better if we created our own story celebrating our culture.
Yes,
Because they're doing it, so why don't we?
Right,
Amen.
and we deserve the spotlight, and I'm glad that you took that that in mindset, that initiative to put that on the map and give African culture the flowers that it deserves. And my next question is, because for me, Akira Toriyama, the mangaka of Dragon Ball, I am inspired by his animation and manga. I don't really read manga, but this communication with you so far, I will definitely pick up a manga book.
Yes.
So has any of the Japanese mangaka have any influence on you on your journey with Bold Saga?
Yes. I've been reading a lot of manga ever since a kid, and some of my favorites are Osamu Tezuka. He's the mangaka behind of Astro Boy, Black Jack, Kimba the White Lion. Akira Toriyama is one. Eiichiro Oda is of One Piece. Masashi Kishimoto, that's the one behind of Naruto.
Okay, yes.
And so many, even Hiro Mishima, the guy behind of Rave Master and Fairy Tail. But one thing I've learned about it is that it all goes back to Osamu Tezuka. Like, the further back you go, the more you realize that if Osamu Tezuka, who is the mangaka of Astro Boy, if he didn't create manga the way how it was, then we wouldn't have it as it is today. Like,
so he created the pedestal for it, the foundation.
Yes, the foundation. Okay. Like the big eyes that you see in manga, he was inspired by Bambi. And he was also inspired by Betty Boop. And Betty Boop is a black woman, but it's, the way how they caricatured it. So that happened. And in addition to that, he was inspired by German movies. He was inspired by French movies. So in its essence, manga isn't just Japanese. It's global.
Yes.
But it's just they put Japanese culture in it. So people have the perception that it's Japanese.
It's just Japanese.
But it's not.
But it has like a lot of cultural diversity in it. I agree.
Let me ask you, and you did mention that in all of those literature, shall we say, the black folks, minstrels and comedians, if you will, and their role is an ancillary role, not a major role. What about in movies back in the day? Part of the criticism of Hollywood was that the black folks get killed off very, very early, and they never play a starring role. These are not the stars. They're just there as fillers for the big story. And so you're making a difference, and you're planning to make a difference that the heroes and the heroines and all of that, they are black people, just like me and you.
Yes, they are black people just like me and you. And what I wanted to do was to make sure that they are the central core of the story and that we add other cultures in it as well, because just because the story is Afrofuturism doesn't mean there won't be other cultures, but the main focus will be on African people. And what I love is that not just that, but we have Caribbean representation. You've read manga as well, and you know that you hardly ever see any Antiguan representation, Jamaican, Haitian, none of that. Well, we did that with Bold Saga. So what I did is that They speak multiple languages. Antiguan dialect is one. Haitian Creole is one.
Okay.
Jamaican patois is in chapter 3, 2, and as you continue reading. And what I love is it's also translated. So
Okay.
when he meets up with his friends at Wagwan, Bossman, it's a cool out.
Yeah,
Mad
yeah,
Hat Cosmic
yeah,
Past Namek can finally enter Star. Like that's in the actual story. Or in
love
chapter
that.
3, there's actual, they're eating griot with dirijanjan. They're eating fungi and pepper pot because they're having the Isin Alo celebration. And what I love is that right after that, there's the actual music, like the celebration. And there's a DJ called DJ Morfire 1 who's actually in the story. And they're performing a
Okay.
song called Hakuna Mapaka, which means I got no limits.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Now, where can folks, Antigua, before I get to that, how many people in Antigua, by your estimation, are reading these books and they're interested in this? Do you have any rough estimate as to whether this younger generation, they're catching the wave, if you will, and inserting themselves and immersing themselves in these books?
I would say of the younger generation, if I had to guess off the top of my head, I would say 70 to 80. I just talked to my cousin yesterday, and he was like, yeah, man, a lot of young people in the Caribbean love manga and anime. Because we were talking about what would happen if you had a manga that was literally about, like, Antiguan culture directly, like if it was cricket or soccer, something like that. And you'd be that, people would love it. So,
Yes.
yes, I would say probably 70 to 80. Like, a lot of people love manga and anime.
And these books are available here locally. Can someone walk into the bookstore, Best of Books, and pick up a copy?
Yes, so chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 we have available in Best of Books, and we're hoping to get 7 Steps to Creating Your Dream Manga series in there as well.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. And again, your latest offering, tell us what's the name of it and all of that. Go ahead.
Perfect. So the latest book that we've created is 7 Steps to Creating Your Dream Manga series, how anyone can create their dream manga series while saving thousands of dollars and years of time. What I've noticed is that most mangaka, and you've read, so you know this, they work themselves to this thing that's called karoshi, which is death from overwork. So many of them are sick. So many of them are tired. So many of them are exhausted or premature death or sicknesses because they work in a schedule where they're releasing chapters week after week after week, sleeping maybe 3 to 4 hours because they're employees for the publisher. But if you learn how to self-publish, you can liberate yourself so you can make the books at your level, at your time, get the actual wealth off of it, and live the life of your dreams as opposed to helping someone else achieve theirs.
Okay, and that's what you did with this book. Remind the folks of the name again. 7
Yes.
Steps to.
7 Steps to Creating Your Dream Manga Series.
Okay.
Very good. Good stuff. So happy
I
to
am
hear.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm an anime girl. I love manga. I love anime. I love all of it. So I am for it. Best of Books has them available,
The 7 Steps book, we're planning to get that into Best of Books as soon as possible.
but the Bold Saga
But the
series
Bold Saga
is
series is
available.
available in
Okay.
Best of Books.
Noted.
Very good. Your wife has been sitting here with us and taking some photos. She care to share a word with the people? No. By the way, this looks like a deja vu moment because last year I think the same thing happened. So just now when I said it, I said, "Hey, Paul, you said this already." It's a deja vu moment, but it's happy.
wow.
I'm happy that she came in and she sat with you. And you guys are traveling tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes.
Very good. All the best. Have a safe flight back and a good Christmas. And folks, these are great gifts for Christmas, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes.
You
For
know,
the young people.
I appreciate, me personally, I appreciate what you're doing because I agree that there's not a lot of African influencing. Well, no, there is a lot of African influence, but it's not presented in the way that African people should get the credit for. So I love what you're doing, and you're putting a lot of Caribbean and African culture on the pedestal, the foundation that is well deserved. So thank you for that.
Thank you so very much, and all the best. Thanks for coming in, my brother.
Thank you, Paul. Thank
and
you.
of course, we have to thank Attorney Bowen.
Yes.
There are two of them, Ralph and Sherfield.
Yes.
It was Ralph. He called me this morning and he said, "Paul, my cousin, he's been nagging me to get this thing out there." And so he said to me, "Paul, you need to fit my cousin in because he's traveling tomorrow."
Wow.
I'm so happy I did.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm happy that I have my co-host here because she understood the whole thing. And you were able, you were able to refer to her a number of times. She has read the book. She knows what I'm talking about. And hopefully after today, more people will know what this manga thing is all about. Eh?
Yes.
Indeed, indeed.
Very good. All the best, my brother.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Same to you.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty, thank you for thinking.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
We're going to take a quick break, folks, and come back with more Voice of the People.